All right. How's it going? This is Joe and Tell, and today we're going to be taking a look at this brand new Monolith Encore B6 bookshelf speaker. And I'm super hyped up about these. This is not my full review. This is just something I'm trying out where, I'm just going to do a live stream, I figure, and talk to you guys, because it's always awkward for me to try to make a video where I'm just talking to the camera. It's much easier for me to actually just, talk to you guys. So if you have any questions, leave them in the live chat, and I'll try my best at the end to answer as many questions as possible. And so I think that'll make for a better video overall. But yeah, super excited about these. And yeah, midnight your time. Okay. So yeah, I'm super excited about these. Yeah, how long have I had these? I've had these for maybe about couple weeks now. So I've been trying them out. I really, really, really like them, and they're at a price point that I think is just ridiculous, right? I think that these are just gonna be, for now, in this price range. I don't know how anyone's gonna beat this. That's really how I feel about these speakers. So let's see here. Where should I start with this? Where should I start? I guess, you know what? The best place to probably start is just to go from my experience. So I got these. They're passive speakers. Monolith, of course, is my channel sponsor, one of my channel sponsors, and so I have to say that up front. And they said, hey, we made these new speakers. Actually, they announced it not even at this AV Summit. They gave us a sneak peek way back at, what was that, June? Yeah, June. Yeah, at what was called the Hi-Fi Summit at the time. And so backstage, they kind of showed us some pictures. Hobie got a chance to show us some pictures of some speakers, and I was super excited because he was talking about some low frequency extension that is like, are you serious? Like that's crazy. You can't make speakers at this price point. And so yeah, basically he sent them over to me. I'm probably one of the first people to have them, and unboxed it. First of all, unboxing experience was more than you expect for this price point. So let me just kind of explain, and then you guys may or may not know what the price is already, but unboxed it, and it came in that cloth, right? So you take that off, and then the first thing I see is this top part, right? So budget speaker, and I see this like glossy finish. You can see it can get some fingerprints, but there's the top, there's the side, and then the bottom is also glossy. Crazy, right? So there's the speaker. First thing to know is that it is not a small bookshelf speaker. Probably one of the larger bookshelf speakers that I've reviewed. But yeah, it has some weight to it. It looks nice. So there's the front with the grill. Has the Monolith. Looks real nice, right? And then if I spin it around, you see the back. Those binding posts actually look a lot like some posts that I've seen on like maybe some ELAC speakers. I don't know. But yeah, there's the port. Kind of a smaller port than I expected for a speaker this size. And then let's take a look at the front. So I pop off the grill. Now, first sign that this is not the most expensive speaker, not a magnetic grill. Okay. But the thing I'm happy about is at least the pegs are here, right? On this, and not on this. I don't like it when it sticks out here. That looks the worst to me. And so, boom, you take that off. You see a big old waveguide. I love that. I've seen this on a few speakers. There's a pretty popular one out called, let me see here, Bucart. I've never reviewed them, but kind of look like the same thing, where the waveguide is the same size as the woofer. So I'm no expert when it comes to waveguides, but I assume that helps it, the crossover. Basically, the directivity between this and the tweeter is more similar because of that waveguide. It looks like a 1-inch soft dome. Oh, this is heavy to hold. let me kind of get comfy here. 1-inch soft dome. This looks like maybe a treated paper, or doesn't seem like polypropylene. Maybe treated paper, smooth, with a coating. Feels like rubber surround, and this looks like a 6-inch woofer. You'd think I'd know the specs by now. And this outside part is also rubber. So to me, it's a handsome looking speaker. Not overly fancy, but I think more than you expect at this price point. I'm gonna keep saying that over and over. And I guess we should talk about that price point, right? So let's pop over to the website here. Let's see here. Okay. And there it is. So these are coming in at $179 each. All right, so what is that? Around $350, somewhere around there. $360. So yeah, it says out of stock right now, but it says, what is this? ETA 11/4. So what is that? 2 days. 2 days. If you're interested in these, you can wait 2 days and you should see them in stock. So you can hit this notify me button and it'll notify you when they're back in stock. But let's take a look here at the pictures. Kind of what I'm showing you here. Looks good with the grill on, in my opinion. Yeah, there it is. The binding posts are different on this picture. Okay. So there it is. And they don't even have, it doesn't even say anything here about the speaker yet. I'm sure that will all be up on the website and up on the website soon. But yeah, 360. I'm not good at math. 360? Yeah, $360 for a pair. What can beat these at $360 a pair? I mean, man, in the full video, I'm gonna show you some of the comments that my wife was making, so we have a multi-story home here, and the garage is on the bottom floor, and I just started testing these with all kinds of music, right? Just a single one, just to kind of get an idea of the tonality of the speaker. And she was like, "Are you testing subs down there?" I'm like, "What are you?" I started laughing because I knew what I was testing, right? I'm like, "No, I'm not testing subs. I'm testing out this bookshelf speaker." She's like, "It's shaking over here. It's crazy." I'm like, "Yeah, it sounds crazy down here too." And that's when I made that one video that you guys might have seen, where I just did a YouTube short when I'm like, "Hey, I'm so excited about these speakers. I can't say what they are yet, but just know that I'm hyped up." I wanted to do that because I felt like I couldn't recreate the excitement of that moment. Like, it doesn't happen very often. I get a lot of speakers and I'm like, all right, cool. Another pair of speakers. Oh, these are cool. Yeah, these are good. Yeah. But not very often am I like, what is going on with these speakers? These are crazy. So yeah, I'm going to answer a lot of your questions. So I see your questions. Just know that I see them. And I will do my best at the very end to just go through and read all of them and try my best to answer all of them, okay? So stick around and we'll talk about that. Shoot, I should have looked up some specs on this. Let me see if I have some specs here. Give me 1 second. Encore. All right. Already people are asking me for my opinion on the Encore speakers. Especially the folks who were at the AV Summit because they saw it. Okay, so here we go. So this is let me see here. I'll read you some specs. So 6.5 inch long fiber pulp cone. Okay, so like I expected, fiber pulp is another way to say kind of like a paper pulp. NBR surround, not sure exactly what that means. 25 millimeter cloth dome with waveguide neodymium magnet. It's vented, aka ported. MDF cabinet, thank you for not making a HDF cabinet. Horizontal shelf bracing, black PVC. Okay, so their claimed frequency response, and this is hilarious. So their claimed frequency response plus or minus 3 dB is 49 hertz to 20 kilohertz. Keep that in mind. Remember, I said 49 hertz. The nominal impedance is 4 ohms. Sensitivity is 85 decibels at 2.83 volts, 1 meter. Yeah. Yeah. So they have their frequency response graph here, which I think is legitimate. I trust what Monolith puts out. And so I'll post this in the final review video. I'll post the frequency response, things like that. But I will be showing my frequency response measurements. And mine aren't perfect, you know, they're just in a room, but it kind of gives you an idea of why I'm so excited about these. So anyway, let's see, what else do we got here? I guess I can bring up... What can I bring up? Oh yeah, so this is the website for the AV Summit that we had last week, and Monolith was one of the sponsors. We had Hobie speaking. If you haven't seen that, you should check it out. But yeah, they announced the B6 bookshelf, but also the T6 tower. I feel like these deserve their own video, right? Because although tonally, here's the thing I like. Tonally, all of them sound similar. So the timbre of all of them are all matched, which is, you'd think that that would be a thing, right? Like, of course they match because they're using the same driver and tweeter. Believe me, there are a lot of speakers that I've reviewed where they're using the same drivers, but for some reason the crossover or the way they have it set up, the center channel sometimes has like a weird response that the other ones don't. It's kind of weird. But yeah, these tonally all match, and I'll show you in my measurements in a bit. But I also did some binaural sound demos. You guys might have seen that I did some demos that were blind demos on my channel where I said, like, you know, check out these bookshelf speakers, compare them. And although these weren't the top ones, the ones that were rated higher by you guys are more than twice as much. So when you're talking about affordable speakers, and those, by the way, were the Polk Reserve R200, which I think they're excellent speakers. Yeah, I think one of the things is I also towed them in because the directivity on those is so narrow that if I didn't, you'd be like, man, there's no treble on that. So I towed them in, and I don't know if I did them an extra favor by doing that. Again, this is all just you know, it's not a scientific thing that I'm doing where it's like perfectly controlled. It's just more, you know, trying to give you guys more of an idea than you had before. So I have a demo. If you go to the AV Summit, you can just look at the Monolith page, and you can also see a demo of their Monolith Encore towers, and these did score the highest. And I was comparing them with some other floor standing speakers, the Larson 4.2s that are what, $2,200 a pair. And I guess I didn't show this yet, but yeah, the floor standers have 3 6.5-inch woofers, and they're $399 each. So, you know, you could say, hey, you know, the Polk Reserve, you know, is only what, $750, $800 depending on if it's on sale. Those are only $750. Why not just save up for those? And I might say, well, if you can do floor standers, you know, why don't you, you know, spend about the same amount, get these instead of the bookshelf? It's kind of, see, you know, it's kind of tough when you're competing at this price point. These are just killers. And then there's a center channel there, $249. The main difference that I think was kind of like different to me, I wasn't expecting it, is I thought this was going to be ported, but it's not. And I don't mind that. I don't mind that this is a sealed enclosure because it sounds tonally similar to the other speakers. If it sounded different, then I wouldn't like that so much. So there's the lineup. I think what I should do is I should probably make a separate video of these Monolith T6. Just know that the center channel sounds close enough to the bookshelves where I wouldn't recommend what I would for some of the other speakers I've reviewed, where it's like the center's so off that you may want to just get another bookshelf speaker if you have an acoustic transparent screen, or a way to kind of just use 3 of the same exact speaker, you know? I mean, I'm lucky I can use actually 3 floor standing speakers, so I could do that. But yeah, that's a takeaway, is that the center speaker sounds tonally similar to the other speakers. Yeah. All right. What else? What else should I talk about? I guess my listening experience before I get into the measurements. Let me put this aside for a second. Um, yeah. So okay, I see your comments here. You're asking about the comparison versus Diamond 12 point. The ones I was comparing it to the Diamond 12.2 or 12.1. I don't remember. Um, so yeah, my listening experience with one, I was already like, dang, this is crazy. And you guys know me already. I'm impressed with bass. Why? And clean bass. I'm not talking about some sloppy, nasty bass. I'm talking about good, clean, low bass extension. The reason being, if I'm gonna recommend some speakers to somebody, right, who's brand new, they haven't, they're just new to this whole thing, I'm gonna tell them, get these speakers, get a Class D amp, small little system, maybe even under $500, right? Okay, even for people who are new, believe me, that's a stretch. Like, $500 is not cheap, right? So you tell them get a little Class D amp or something like that. If you can, maybe a Yamaha 2-channel amp might be a little bit better. Okay. So you get something like that, maybe something used, whatever, and then you get these speakers, right? But what happens most of the time is I recommend some bookshelf speakers, and the truth is they probably need a sub, right? All right, so how much is a decent sub? Well, I don't want to recommend a crappy sub because it's not going to add that much deep bass extension. So, a decent sub is going to be another $600, right? Okay, so let's say I tell them where I just get a whatever sub, spend $200 on a sub. All right, cool. All right, well, you have to make sure that you can blend the sub with the main speakers. Now that's not even easy, right? Even if you have UMic 1, $89. Mini DSP 2x4 HD, 200 something bucks. So it starts to add up. And plus they have to learn how to do all that to be able to blend the stuff. But if you have some speakers that already have some good bass, you don't have to do that. I can just tell them, get a Class D amp, get these speakers, plug them in, and that's it. You're going to have good sound with good bass. So I'll show you right now in the graph. That's what we should do right now is take a look at this graph. Hold on a second. Boom. Boom. All right, here we go. So this is the frequency response of the Monolith Encore B6 bookshelf. And this is just in my room, right? And what do we see here? I mean, just looking at this looks pretty extremely good. How else can I say that? Right? Very good. Now, if I were to nitpick, which we have to because that's what we do. If I were to nitpick, say, oh, this doesn't look perfect right here. This looks kind of like a bass bump, and this is all true. But it does have the downward slope, slight downward slope that I like, right? So it's not going to sound overly bright. And then you might say, okay, well, this is not perfect here, right? Over here, this is not perfect. Maybe that's that waveguide kind of acting maybe kind of like a horn. I don't know. But all I know is it sounds good to me, right? So none of this is offensive to me. Maybe to somebody else, maybe they're like, I don't like this. What's happening here? Okay. But a lot of this can also be resolved just by, towing them out a little bit, and I'll show you that in a second. I plug in my mouse. Okay. So there's the front. So what I do is I take an average of the sound that's coming from the front. So not just directly on axis, but kind of like 30 degrees to the left, 30 degrees to the right, maybe 10 degrees up and down, right? So that's kind of like where you'd be if you're sitting in front of it. I also took a measurement of the front and back. So I kind of just went around the speaker to kind of get the back of the port, right? Because that's where the port is. And I got a response kind of more similar to this, right? And this, I think this is, this bump here might be the table that this thing is sitting on. This is not smooth. This is 1/48th average smoothing. So if you use REW, you can use different types of smoothing to make it look better. I can go in here and go psychoacoustic smoothing. Oh, look, it's so smooth. But, I just did 1/48th. And so there it is, right? There's with the port. And then I just did the port by itself. Right, so I do believe that this is either my room or the table it's on, something. I don't think it's in the speaker because Monolith measurements don't show this. So, okay, so there's the port. Now here's the interesting thing to notice about the port. It goes up here. So this is at the port. This is me measuring the port specifically. So you see this rise around here, maybe 120. Then it dips down, right? Then it dips down, but then it goes back up, right? So then the port does something else. And I believe my buddy Aaron talked about something called the Chebyshev port tuning. So there's different port tunings that you can use, and they always have their pros and cons. You know, maybe less chuffing, stuff like that. So less turbulence at the port. And the thing I noticed about this one that I showed you guys at the beginning is the port is actually looks kind of small, right? For what the size of the speaker and the size of the enclosure. A lot of times you'll see companies go with a larger port opening to reduce any turbulence or what they call port chuffing. But this one has a smaller port, and typically what that tells you is a smaller port is a lower tuning frequency. And that's what we're seeing here. Now look at this tuning. This is where the bump happens. Okay, bookshelf speaker. Let's just say this is the top, right? And if I take 3 decibels down from here, so let's say this is 83.8. So at 80.8, okay, we're talking about 21.8 hertz. Like, what are we talking about here? This is what I'm talking about. This is why the wifey was in the kitchen like, are you testing out subs over there? And this is why I'm so hyped up about these speakers, because, you know, even though when I combine them, so this is the front and back, so this is the port. You see the port and what it's doing here, that slow bass extension. You see that the speaker is actually dropping off, right? So it's not like this is the straight line straight across like this, right? Which is what you want. But that's not to say that we can ignore this, right? That's kind of like you have an extra sub over there that maybe not perfectly integrated, but this is real bass, right? Real bass that you're gonna get. You can't ignore this bass. And that's what gets me hyped up about this speaker. Now, if you were going to use this in a home theater and you said, hey, you know what? I'm going to cut it off at 80 hertz. Forget all this. I don't need that. I'm going to use a sub. All right, well, cool. Ignore that then, right? You can just cut it off, use a steep slope, no problem. So yeah, that's awesome. Very, very awesome. So here is the bookshelf speaker with no grill. Here's with the grill. Typically what you want to see is very little effect, and on the orange I don't see very much effect. So grill on, grill off, doesn't matter too much. And then I did some on axis, right? So this is the on axis, like I just went direct on axis with the tweeter. Then 45 degrees horizontal, and then I did 45 degrees below, right? So you can see 45 degrees, if you're below it actually is pretty smooth. You know, that's not bad. So if you have to put the speakers a little higher than your seated position, no problem. Typically, above is no good though. And let's see if that's the case here. Yeah, above is the worst because you can see it dips down here, and that's normal. I mean, for a two-way speaker, typically above the speaker is the worst. But I guess the takeaway is that 45 degrees on axis, you know, you see that it looks very similar across the board here. And that usually just means that we have pretty good directivity. Now, I think Aaron will get some of these to put on the Clipple, and he'll put all those measurements out, and you guys will see whether what I'm saying is true or if I'm full of crap. You know, you guys will be able to tell from the Clipple, you know, just more objective data. This is what I try to do is I try to give my subjective opinion and back it up a little bit with some objective data, so you guys know that I'm not just pulling stuff out of my hat. Okay, so quickly, I'm just gonna show the center channel. So here's the Encore bookshelf. Here's the center channel, and like I was saying, you know, they look very similar. So tonally very similar. Here is, where's the floor stander? There. Tonally similar. Right? You can see. But compared to the bookshelf to the floor stander, what do you expect? More bass And yep, you get that. And look at what this port is doing over here. Yeah. Yeah, you're getting some pretty crazy bass extension. But yeah, a lot of companies won't consider this. So remember. So going back to the bookshelf, Monolith claimed 49 hertz. They said, okay, this is where the bass ends, right here, right? 49 hertz. They're not even counting this. So just consider that free bass. That doesn't sound right. Consider that extra bass that you didn't have to pay for. Or I guess you did pay for it, but you know what I'm saying. Hopefully. Floor standard. Okay, so I did do, a lot of folks like this when I kind of do close-ups of each component. So this is the floor standard. And then I did the tweeter real close. So you can see there's a tweeter. There's the woofer. You can kind of see where the crossover point is around here. Woofer number 2. Woofer number 3. And you can see, so woofer number 1, let me kind of close this up. Woofer 2 and 3 look the same. But woofer number 1 is acting more like a mid-range. So I think they call this like a 2.5 way. Okay, and then the port. There's the port. So you can see them all together. And then combined, they give you this green response right here. Oh, something like that. Or something actually more like this. Tweeter, woofer, woofer 2, woofer 3, port. Okay? So that's it for the graphs. And then now I just got to answer questions. Of course, in my full review, I'm going to put it on the speaker leaderboard and we'll do a comparison and see where each one goes. But you can already imagine extremely high. Oh, by the way, I'm going to leave a link down below. You can click on the link down below if you want to be notified when these come back in stock or when they first come in stock. I would say, man, if you guys don't have a speaker system already and you're just like, oh, which one should I get? This is a great first system. Great. If you already have a system and you just have some money that's burning a hole in your pocket and you just want something else, and you have $400 to spend, $360 to spend, then you can get some of these bookshelf speakers. And if you don't like them, send them back. I think they have 30 days. Let me see. Yeah. Let's see here. I always think this is funny. They have ads for other competing companies. Okay. Oh, they don't have info on this page yet. But I think for most of their stuff, they have a 30-day what do you call it? Money back. So you can try them out. Anyway. Let me get to your questions. Let's see here. See if I can pop these up. All right. Hello from California. You got his boba tea. All right. What's up, Nick? All right. I'm going to start at the very beginning. Yep. Design reminds me of the Buchart S400. Correct, Sean. Yep. Nice waveguide. You did like the sound demo of these. All right, cool. And for the sound demos, just keep in mind that I was using some binaural mics. So make sure to get some headphones. Get the best headphones that you have. If you have earbuds, that's better than nothing. But don't listen on like phone speakers or computer speakers. It's not going to tell you anything. You have to have something with at least some bandwidth to be able to produce the bass to give you an idea of what these do. All right. Let's see here. So frequency response, I answered that. I answered that they are ported. Chris Wyndham says free shipping, correct. So T-Town Scott says at the AV Summit, he thought that the Wharfdale Diamond 12.0 sounded slightly better, but that was online, not in person. Yeah, you know what? The funny thing is that the Diamond speaker sounds very tonally similar to the Polk Reserve R200s. And I said that in my initial review. I showed a frequency response of both, and for some reason, they're not designed by the same person, I don't think. But the graphs are very similar to one another, but because the Wharfdales are smaller, they're using a 5.25 inch woofer, they just didn't have the bass output, so people didn't like it because it didn't have enough bass, or as much bass. People like bass, I think this is a smart thing that they did. I know people like bass. They gave you lots of bass. Oh, I didn't know this. It says two or more is 169 each. All right. All right. Yep. So Infinity sub, I guess you might have watched Aaron's review where he compared a few different subs and then Infinity came out on top. Fluence has some affordable subs, okay. DSP would be good for the speaker. Yeah. So that's the other thing. Thank you, Adir. Adir, you're the man. Um, that's awesome because I forgot to mention that actually. Because the directivity looks good, meaning the on axis and the off axis are similar, right? Not like, okay, on axis this way and then the off axis is something totally different. Because as you move side to side, the directivity is smooth, right? You're getting a smooth off axis response. That means that any of those little issues that you may not like, you might be able to correct those. You probably can correct them with DSP. You know, it's the ones where there's something you don't like, but it's only on the on-axis response and not the off-axis or vice versa, right? It's on off-axis and not on-axis. You can't fix it because if you try to fix one, well, it ruins the other, right? So you need to be able to fix both at the same time, and the only way is if the curves are the same. All right. So how are the low frequencies? Crazy. You can check out the sound demo. Put on some good headphones that have some good bass and listen to the sound demo. I'm, playing a song that we all know. Isaac says not everyone. Oh, hold on a second. Can I move this up a little bit? Sorry. Not everyone has 10K to spend on sound. This is a good alternative for the masses who want good sound but aren't willing to put their life savings out. Yes, and the thing that's so exciting to me about stuff like this is that it is just what you're saying, right? When there's good sound. So let me just put it this way: I get to test speakers out all the time, right? So I get to play with all this stuff. It's cool, expensive stuff too. And it gets to a point where I get more excited when somebody else tells me, man, I got this system. It sounds awesome. This is my first system. I love it. I can't believe it. And then they get hooked, right? They get hooked. Next thing you know, they're asking me about DSP and all kinds of stuff, right? That's what I think is exciting. I get to play with all these toys. So for me to see somebody else enjoy it is almost more exciting than, me getting to enjoy it. I don't know. I enjoy these a lot. So maybe not. Measurements kind of look like sweeps. Okay. More bass than the per listens at 8,000 a pair. I don't know about that. I don't know about those. Amazing good value for the money, says Isaac. Yeah, so Beatmania boy says if you ran these active with DSP, I think they could be punching way above their price range, and I can confirm that because I have these set up in my home theater. So front floor standing, so the towers for the front, left and right, the center, C6 they call it, and then these are the two surrounds, and then I have some other stuff for the height speakers or SVS, rear channel or PSB, all kinds of stuff. And then of course subs. But part of what I do is I spend lots of hours DSP correcting my system. And these speakers without DSP, so it's very easy to go on the Denon pure direct mode versus DSP corrected. I can just easily go back and forth. And I can say DSP corrected sounds better. But it's almost surprising because I can go to pure direct and I'm still like, that sounds pretty good too. Sounds pretty good. The main thing I do is I don't like brighter speakers, and I think these are just on the edge of some people might find it a little too bright, some people might want it a little bit more if you're used to brighter speakers. To me, it's perfect, right? It's perfect as is. I don't mind if they're recessed a little bit depending on the content. It really depends on the content at that point. Like for movies, a lot of times you'll see that people put a cinema filter where it cuts off some of the high frequencies. So yeah, I like them. Were these A, B, C, or D? So in the shootout, in the blind test, for I think these bookshelves were. Let me think. A was the ELAC Unify Reference, $1,000 a pair, and then B, yeah, hold on. Yeah, I think B were these, and then C were the reference. Sorry, the Polk Audio Reserve R200s, and then D were the Wharfdale Diamond 12.2s, I believe. 12.1, 12.2. One of those. The 5 1/4. And so the thing to take. All right, so the poll is kind of tricky because once one gets real far ahead, everybody starts clicking on that one. So at the very beginning, it was the order was that most people like the Polk Reserve twice as much. Okay, understandable. I had them towed in, so maybe some of that clarity kind of came through. And then these were next, followed by the Wharfdales, and last were the ELACs. So let's just say that. Yeah. So yeah, he said the 12.1. Chris Wyndham, thank you. Crossover looks clean for the price as well. How's the build quality? I think it's good. You know, maybe the build quality on the Polk Reserve is a little bit better. You know, it has a kind of nice rounded grill. You know, you pay for that extra, like, you know, it's rounded. The Wharfdale is excellent build quality for the price, but I think sound quality is where these win overall. Like, I don't mind the trade-off of, like, it's not rounded or doesn't look as fancy, but you know, I'll leave it to you guys to decide. Oh, okay. You won. Oh, you won a 12.1. Cool. So, would you consider keeping these? Yeah. Well, I spent a lot of time tuning these, and the funny thing is, you know, the guys over there at Monolith said, "Yeah, we want you to like send it to Aaron." I'm like, I want to keep these. I want to use these for my main system. You know, I like them that much. I can choose any speakers, right? More expensive speakers. I could rock some $2,000 speakers in the front, 2,000 a pair. I could rock this and that. But no, I'm good. If I had to stop doing this tomorrow, and I said this is my system, I don't think I'd have any issues. They get more than loud enough. I played Dune on these. Man, sounded crazy. It kept up with, so I have 3 subs, and it kept up with all the subs. So, are there any feet or anything at the bottom? I'm gonna have to check the box because sometimes they come out, they have like little rubber feet. I will say that the floor standing speakers do have some nice I think they call them like outriggers, something like that. I don't know. They're feet, right? But you have to screw them in, and they look pretty nice. The bookshelves don't have that, but I'm not sure if they come with like little rubber feet that you stick under there. It is a gloss surface. I just use Blue Tack. You know me. Simon asks, can they work for the desktop? Yeah. I would recommend, they're kind of big, so I would recommend using these at a desktop if you can put them on stands. You know, so they have desktop stands. I know Soundrise Pro has some desktop stands. I don't know if they'll even handle these, but Kanto Audio just sent me some desktop stands that might be able to handle these, but these are big. So how I would do it is have some speaker stands. You know, if you can do speaker stands beside your desk, that'd be better. Can work with SVS speaker. I'm not sure what that means. I have 2 SVS subs, if that's what you're asking. Works fine. If you can fit the Dynas, you can fit these. That's right. So that's it. I don't want to go on too long unnecessarily. If you have any other questions, leave them in the comments. I guess I'm going to make this video private. So if you have any questions, ask them now. Because I'm just going to use part of this video for my main review. I might just have to get a set just to try them. Yeah, man. Oh yeah, didn't I showed you the graph? Same sound with grills versus none. Yeah, let me go back to the graph. I'll show you. Grill versus none. All right. So so here's the bookshelf, and here's with the grill in orange. There it is. What's your takeaway? Oh, I should do 20 here. What am I doing? There. Center where center channel, floor stander. They sound better than SVS speaker. Do they sound better than an SVS speaker? Um I mean, I have some prime bookshelves, right? So SVS Prime bookshelf, I think would be the one that it would more closely compete with compared to the Ultra bookshelf. Yeah, I like the way they sound better. I find that the SVS are a little bit bright for my taste. Um, they're using a titanium tweeter, and I think some people might like it because it sounds sharp. It's a bright sound and it's kind of piercing, and sometimes that's kind of good for movies. You want that, sounds crystal clear. Some people like that sort of thing. Not me. I can appreciate what they're doing though, because the way that those SVS are tuned, in my opinion, I don't know exactly, but it seems like they're tuned to not have a lot of bass because they want you to use their subs. And so typically with a bookshelf speaker, you have to make a choice. You can either make the speaker huge, right? And if you make it huge, you can make it play loud and you can make it have lots of bass, right? But if you want to keep it a decent size, then now you have to choose between bass extension or hitting low bass or being able to play loud. And I think SVS chose to play loud because they would rather you use it with their subs that can handle the low part. So subs handle the low, the speakers can play loud, best of both worlds. Running on AVR or external amp? I'm running these on an external amp. So I tried it on, what is it? I have a OSD 5-channel amp. Yeah. Some decent wattage on there. Anything else? Oops. Anything else before I go? Yes, no, maybe so. I enjoy you guys hanging out with me to do this. This makes it a lot easier for me to just answer questions here. Just less awkward than trying to write a script or bullet points and I'm talking to this camera without anybody on the other side. So grill, just a grill, doesn't affect things. Light, looks nice. But yeah, buy some if you're in the market for some speakers. I can easily recommend these. Easily. Did you have an opportunity to hear the Monolith THX speakers? If so, how did they compare? I have not. You know what? There's a thing about the designer, the guy who designed these. Let's just say I'm not gonna say it. I'll let somebody else say it if they know. But let's just say, actually, you know what? Hobie said it in the AV Summit, so I guess it's okay to say. But yeah, let's just say if you admire the designers at Per Listen, Arendelle, then you may like these speakers. Let's just say that. So if you respect the designer there, then pretty sure it has a similar thought to this designer of these speakers. I don't want to get in trouble. Thank you for the stream. You're welcome. Rasul. Hi, Joe. I bought the UB52 plus SMSL 8018 and got them today. They don't have much bass. What? UB52? Hold on a second. Okay, UB52. Okay. Do you think they'll change after break? I don't believe in break-in. Sorry. Also, what do you think about the setup? So I've had the 8018 Um, I like those low class D amps. I think that they can get loud enough and in most situations where you're not playing it in a huge room and expecting a ton of output. But I used to play them in my retail shop, and the shop was maybe 1,600 square feet, so a pretty big shop, and I could get them to play loud enough where I would be annoyed with how much volume there is. But the UB52s, I didn't think they had a lot of bass too. You know, the UB5s, the original UB5s, they used to drop bombs. That's why I love them so much. I always like affordable speakers, bookshelf speakers that are, under $500 that had bass. To me, that's like the most impressive part of it. And so when they went to the UB52, I was like, I don't think these have as much deep bass. I don't know. And same with the Unify reference. I didn't think they have as much bass. So anyway, I like the older ones better. Let's just put it that way. I have both of them, and I have the reference. I have all the Unifies. I keep them handy so I can compare them in these demos. Let's see. Beatmania Boy says, you ever going to do an RTA tuning guide for those who want to go ham with DSP? You know what? If you want to go ham, I'm in the Discord home theater group. I don't know if you have to be invited. I don't know how that works, but I'm in there, and we go ham on RTA tuning. We talk for a good amount of time over there about DSP tuning. We're just all nerding out. And I for me, the funnest part is that I feel like I'm taming a frequency response or something that's invisible, Like, here's this thing we can't even see, but we're smart enough to figure out how to see that, visualize that, and then make it do what we want it to do, using, frequency response, amplitude, magnitude, to be more specific, and phase, time alignment. It's very interesting in that aspect. And you get into a little bit of math, so you feel like an engineer. You feel smart. I don't know how smart I actually am, but I feel smart. They look great? Yes. Monolith is set up better than SVS speaker for my entertainment. Monolith is set up better than SVS. I have a feeling that, yeah, I'm not understanding the question too much. It's set up better than SVS. Is it better than SVS? I don't know. I mean, I like these more than the SVS Prime bookshelves. That's all I can say. Sorry, SVS. I love you guys, but it's the truth. I gotta say it. What is the sensitivity? Chris Wyndham, you missed a lot, man. I did say that. 85 decibel. 85 dB. And 4 ohms. Let me read it again. Okay, so frequency response 49 to 20 kilohertz, 4 ohms, 85 dB sensitivity. And then the crossover is what I said earlier, 1.2 kilohertz, which we saw from the graph. Adir said, I used to believe in breaking until I got the on-groove medium TWS speaker. Okay. Can't wait to get into that. All right. I'll make one day. I always want to do those types of videos once I don't have products to review. But as of late, I just have so much stuff to review. I got to get to all that stuff first. But yeah, I love doing tutorial type of stuff. So yeah, I'll do that. Anything else? Anything else before I go? Any other important questions? Maybe a question that somebody who's interested in buying this might not think of asking. Okay, so use case for these would be if you're looking for an inexpensive pair of bookshelf speakers for a 2-channel system and you don't plan on wanting to have to buy a sub, and you listen to music that requires some deep bass extension, these are it. Okay, so around that $350 price point, these are it. If you want to do a home theater setup, or maybe you plan on upgrading to a home theater setup, these are a good way to go, because if you set them up as your front, left, and right, maybe they can eventually move to side surround if you end up getting the floor standing speakers, or you can just get 5 of these, or you can get two more of these for the front, left, and right surround, and then get the center channel if you want to get the center channel. What else? For desktop use, I think it's a little bit big. I think a little big for a desktop. I think there are other solutions that are more suitable for a desktop, especially some of these powered speakers because they already have DSP correction. Right? So you wouldn't have to get DSP. But I think for home theater, 2-channel systems, these are the way to go. And very easily, I can easily recommend these even if you plan on adding a sub later because the upper frequencies are also good. It's not just that it has bass. Upper frequencies are good. Let's see. I was looking up the... Okay. Okay, you wanted Discord, all right. Okay, he has 6 prime in I'm assuming if is that prime elevation for entertainment sound. Can I get bookshelf model? Okay, so oh, I see. I think you're saying will these blend with the rest of your speakers? Typically you want your front, left, center, and right at least to be the same. I would even go so far as like if you have side surrounds, um, the more you can get the same, the better. But I use prime elevation speakers for my height channels. So left and right height, left and right rear are prime elevation. And I think it's the job of the DSP room correction if you're using Odyssey or Dirac to make speakers sound more similar. So of course they're not going to sound exactly the same, but at least the same level, and kind of if you have a target curve, kind of get all the speakers to sound similar, more similar than without it. So that's the job of your AVR. Sean says he's satisfied with the Fluence AI60s. Yeah, I've reviewed those before. I don't want to say anything because you're satisfied with the AI60s. So if I say something, then you might not be satisfied with those. Nah, those are good little speakers. What speakers am I talking about? I'm talking about the Monolith B6 bookshelf. The T6 is actually the tower speaker. Do they have any hiss when hooked up to an amp? It depends on your amp. $350 price. Oh, that's these. That's these. These are the ones around $350 for the pair. I think they come out to $360 a pair. They can't have hiss with 85 decibel sensitivity. Yeah, that's true. Typically, it's the higher sensitivity, like when it comes to headphones. Like, actually, no. Hold on a second. I'm not a headphone guy. All I know is certain headphones have hiss on certain apps. I answered this one. Used for desktop monitors. I think that for desktop, they're probably a little bit big. Yeah, probably a little big. All right, let me show you an example. I have here an OSD monitor that I'm going to review soon. Hold on. All right. Here's the OSD one. All right, you can kind of see it. And then the top, though, I guess you can see it this way. Yeah. Yeah, kind of big. Do I have a pic of my setup? In the garage? Yeah. Let's see. Garage. Kind of like this. This is kind of messy because I was switching out a bunch of speakers to do this test. Oops. But yeah, something like this. I just have them up in the front. The center is hiding behind here. But yeah, of course you should make it look a lot nicer than this if you care. But yeah, have some floor standing, or here are the floor standers down here, and here are the B6 bookshelf speakers. All right, I answered all the questions here. Binding post good for banana plugs? Yeah, yeah. Look at the. I'll show you a close up of the banana plugs. I think these look very similar to some other speakers, to be honest. Yeah. Kind of beefy, yes. Talking about me? Just kidding. All right, guys. That's it. That's it. I don't know how long I've been streaming, but I could talk about these all day, and I enjoy hanging out with you guys. So thanks for hanging out. If you like the video, you know what to do. I guess this is a live video. I guess you know for my review, I'll just say it. So I cut it in. All right. Dope. Yeah. You guys are getting crazy right when I'm about to leave. Isn't playing around. $350 Monolith Encore. No, these are $350 for a pair. You get two of them for $360. Yeah, $360. I think somebody was saying there's discount if you get two or more. But yeah, around $350 for a pair. Yeah. Let's not get mixed up here. We're talking about these, see? What happens when you do two? I don't see anything. Yeah. These are $399 for each for the floor standing ones. Still a great deal. And then the center channel $249. Again, I'm gonna link down below so you guys can click on the links and click notify, whatever you want to do. All right. He was thinking about Clips to 5s, but they don't go on sale all that often. Yeah, when they go on sale for $500, I think it's a good deal. But I bought the UB5s. You said UB52s, so I don't know if you're talking about UB5s or UB52s. UB5s I liked. UB52s not as much. Oh, thank you. 70K. Yeah. Good night. Yeah, it's 11. Good night. UB52. Yes. All right. Cool. Wanted to make sure. Paolo. Unify 2.0 are these? I'm picking these all day. All day. All right, guys. All right, so I'm gonna do my outro. So thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, subscribe, ring the bell to be notified when I upload new videos. That's it. Take care. Bye-bye. All right, guys. See ya.